Well, welcome everybody to the altar call. This is your host, Dr. John L. Mack. I'm so excited and delighted to come before you and share information for not only your transformation, but your elevation, your compensation, and your consideration. You know, when we put together the author call, and I've been working on this project for the last several months, we were looking at several important ingredients that would make this something of value and significance. And the main thing that we wanted was to make sure that we would put out information that aspiring authors could use to be able to create their own intellectual property, to develop that intellectual property, and to be able to present it in the best light so that it would be able to have the greatest impact for the author and for you, the listening audience. And we've helped hundreds of authors, aspiring authors, to get published successfully, as well as working on our own intellectual products. I've to date published 24 books. Some of them most of them are still in print, but some of them I took down because they were kind of rushed projects. um, we live in a unique time in the publishing community. At one point, it was almost impossible to get a book published. You would send in a query letter, get an agent, and that agent would go in and he would plead your case before the limited number of publishers out there. And this publishing community, this industry, this cadre, this closed, cloistered community would prevent um, inappropriate crazy or insane or poorly done material. So they policed themselves, and it was a pretty well, it wasn't fair, but it was a pretty successful operation. People went out of their way to ask, please publish my book, and then they were pretty much distinguished because so many rejection letters and many authors, including J.K. Rowling, who wrote the incredible Harry Potter series. She was rejected like some 13 or more times. Most authors had gotten rejected, and that rejection letter, that culture of rejection, is what caused most people to say, "Oh no." I'm not even going to go through that process of getting rejected and not selected and affected by the negativity and all. So most books went unwritten, and so those that were written, the the publishers. I mean, this is a business. It's a commercial enterprise. So they were looking at when they would select an author, or they receive this query letter. The the concept had to be so incredible that it would allow a up and coming, a new aspiring author to arise. But if not, then they would look at other criteria. What type of an audience does the author have? Do they have enough followers, verified, documented followers? And this was even before social media. So could they look at your at sales? Could they look at other metrics to determine what is your CRM? How many people are on your email list? And even before email, there were metrics that they would look at to say, okay, this person has enough following where we want to we'll bring them on. We want to publish their book because we think that their book is the topic is good enough. It meets some of the check marks, the criteria. This is going to be a good book. It's well written, and if the publisher decided to marshal its sources and forces behind the author, then what would happen is they would be able to through marketing, through and they would edit the book, they would print the book, they would go through multiple editings of the manuscript, they would create a compelling cover, and then they would launch it out there. And that process of launching was based on they were launching their that audience was that audience was their ideal avatar. This is a person that this book, when they sat down and wrote the book, when they came up with the concept, This was the reader that they had in mind. This reader met certain criteria, and they were able to market specifically and directly to that person or that ideal avatar. So as a result of that, they were able to recoup the cost because there was cost involved in creating, publishing, launching, and promoting and advertising the book. So under that model, they would give the author what's called an advance. That means that they are giving you a draw against future royalties. They said, okay, your book is the type that we think is going to sell. You have enough of an audience that would probably buy it, and with us crafting a great book, something that you can be proud of, a brand building book. Your audience sees that brand building book, they're going to buy it. Now, based on who that audience that you've already developed is, their goal is to uh, push even more to that same type of an audience. So by targeting that mindset, that avatar concept, they're able to reach out to your full ideal marketplace so that they can, of course, leverage that, get some traction, some momentum, and then it virally spreads, and then people buy the book, and only then are you going to see. They've given you an advance, so they're giving you like 10,000 or 100,000 based on your demeanor, a million if you got that much of a social media construct. So that model allowed there to be a gatekeeper to keep out unwanted, unruly, unnecessary individuals. Well, what happened in the last 30 years is that there's been a digital disruption of the entire marketplace. Everything in the marketplace has gone through and experienced a digital disruption. And in the publishing arena, that digital disruption says that now anybody can publish a book with platforms like Lulu and Lightning Source and Ingram Spark and Kindle KDP Kindle Direct Publishing. You're able to go in and very inexpensively, effectively, and expeditiously produce intellectual products that you can sell in the form of books, ebooks, audiobooks, courses, classes, curriculum. You're able to develop that and then market it to a specific targeted audience yourself. So in the past, where the publishing houses would determine who met the criteria, you get to make that decision on your own. And now you can take the book, and the book now can become the focal point of your marketing plan. In other words, now that you've got a book, now that you are a published author, there are two things I want to discuss. One is my book PB4X, and the other one is the Plus University concept. Now, PB4X was simple. And again, welcome to the author call, those of you just tuning in. PB4X was pretty simple. It said this: a published book plus a polished brand times a proven blueprint equals a profitable business. And after all, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for profitable business. We want to position ourselves so that our business, so that the book generates enough of a revenue source that it becomes something of significance. So, guys, I'm gonna break that down a little bit more because that's pretty dynamic. A published book, and most of you, you'll be honest with me, that is what scares the bejesus out of most people. Oh, publishing a book, how am I going to write it? Are they going to laugh at me? Am I making enough sense? Is it clear? Does it make sense? Yada, yada. So they just go through this whole inner issue, this inner conflict where they don't believe that they're good enough, and that imposter syndrome expresses itself in greater detail. Well, that first process, the published book with technology, with AI, with GPT, and all these different sources, and publishing strategists like myself, you're able to write it in a week, write it in a weekend, publish it, and get it out there so expeditiously. If you look at the TV evangelists, Creflo Dollar, Joyce Meyer, all of those guys, Joel Osteen, every other week they have a brand new book out. How are they able to do that? Well, they're able to do that with such speed because you can actually speak your book into existence. If you got a good outline and you can follow an outline, you can record and have the transcript transcribed and then edited. And within a week, you can have a good book, something that's really nice, something that is effective, something that it actually conveys your thought and that makes all the sense in the world. And bam, the next week you got another one. So the published book is the easy part. So the PB 4X, the published book, and then we look at the polished brand, and that's what we're going to be talking about over the next several months. Polishing your brand. So when people look at you and they say, "Well, that gum, your brand is pretty cool." I look at your background, it makes sense. I look at your graphics and your everything looks good. You know, you will look marvelous. Everything looks great. So that's the polished brand. They look at your fonts, your color selection. Does it all create an aura or an image of excellence and exclusivity and of extreme endeavored issues driven content that will help to unlock areas in your life that have been causing problems in the past. So that's what that polished brand does for you. So when people look at it, when they go on in any place within on the internet, they can in cyberspace they'll see that you have congruency in that look. You don't have pink and green over here and purple and gold over here. That you have a consistent color scheme, that you use a consistent font. So that font says Dr. Mac. That color scheme says Dr. Mac. Everything says your brand has been established and that you're operating from that branding position of excellence. So that's the second PB, PB4, X, four times. So the published book, polished brand. Then it takes us to that proven blueprint to guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That proven blueprint is the key. You have to sit down and say, okay, how am I going to deliver this content? How am I going to digitally deliver content that's going to reflect my brand? That's going to be the digital dashboard information that I'm going to make available to my audience. And so that proven blueprint is that you look at a business model and you develop a digital dashboard that allows you to sell your book and get booked to speak at colleges, courses, at corporate events, conventions, conferences, campaigns, challenges, that you are able to go into the marketplace and present yourself in such a way that people purchase the initial product. And because of the content was good enough, was scale strong enough that you can come in and be able to expand that. So that's where we're talking about that that proven blueprint. What is what type of mechanism are you utilizing to be able to make your content digitally available to your marketplace? And so we help you to create that digital dashboard. And that dashboard is pretty cool because within that dashboard, you should be able to disseminate your intellectual property. You should be able to offer multiple digital products such as classes, courses, curriculum, the books, the audio books, the print books, the flip books. You should be able to offer signature speeches that you have expertise and experience that you will speak on. You should be able to present your message and your methodology in such a way that you can magnify, that you can monetize it, and therefore be able to consistently take you to that next level. So, what is the next level? Well, I'm glad you asked. That fourth PB is a profitable business. So, if you have a published book that's a good book done well, you polish your brand, you work on that brand so that when people see it, it doesn't look sloppy, it doesn't look like you just as an afterthought, but that this is when they look at it, they say, wow, I want to do business with that individual. That individual's thought this through. They have a plan, a process that makes sense, and that I can implement and make work for myself. Then they have a proven blueprint that they're following so that now they have a profitable business. Profitable businesses is our goal. The aim of this whole author ecosystem is to develop a profitable business, a business that will allow you to to scale, that will allow you to go to the next level. So then that's the PB4X. So then we go over to the next level and talk about Plus University. This is how we introduce you to your own author ecosystem. So it's similar to the PB4X, but it just has a little bit more nuance. It's the plus means publish the book, and we work with you on that with GPS and which get published successfully, and with SPAN, the Self Published Authors Network. We work with you to develop that to publish that book. Then launch. If you don't launch the book properly, it's going to sit there. You know, Kevin Costner lied, and I've been saying this for years. If you build it, they ain't necessarily going to come unless you let them know that it's there. If you wrote the book and you said and you're just waiting, okay, where's my money? It don't work like that. Once the book is published, then you have to launch it so that now your ideal audience, your ideal avatar, your ideal reader knows who you are, where the book is, where they can get it, and then where they can book you. Because once they read it, they should say, "Wow, I'm so excited! I cannot believe the content that was available in that book. It was so great. I want more." They want more of you. So that $20 book can now be leveraged into 100 or 500 or even thousands of dollars of additional uh, um, sales, which brings us to the next step, which is the upsell. So you take that book, and then you're able to convert it into multiple iterations of itself. So you make it an ebook, you make it a print book, you make it a flip book, you turn it into a course, you make it a class. It becomes a curriculum. It becomes a signature speech that you give at courses, that you give it at colleges and corporate events. Conferences, all of that is in the upsell because you are able to turn it into multiple iterations of itself. And finally, that brings us to the scale because once you've upsold it and the upsell is complete and you have all these options available, now you want to just continually promote that digital dashboard so that when people come on it, they say, wow, I'm ready to buy your book. I'm ready to book you. I want you to come and speak to the students at at my school or my class or at my college. I need you. I want a slice of your soul because you're helping my audience to grow. And that's what it's all about, to position yourself so that using the plus process, understanding the PB4 formula, and using GPS to get published successfully, to focus on getting that book out there and then leveraging that book so that it is like phenomenal. People are saying, my goodness, that's a great book. I'm glad I read it. And now I want to know more of you. Guys, here on the Author Call, I'm your host, Dr. Johnny O'Mara. And I can just give you more and more. I've studied for the last decade this process. I was able to get people published successfully with no issue, no problem whatsoever. But a lot of my clients were saying, okay, sure, you got me published. You even made me a bestseller. I'm a number one bestseller, but I'm broke. I'm not making money. I want to start making money. So during the pandemic, I sat down with my team and we began to figure out the process of going beyond the book. That's where Plus University comes from. So with Plus University, now I've everyone that's gone through our system, we are going to give them a grandfather designation as being an A plus author. That means an author plus a speaker, and that A plus. See, because just the book, you'd have to sell 5,000 books to reach the $100,000 threshold. But that's the low hanging fruit. What if you had a course, class, or curriculum that you were charging 90, 100, 9,000, 10, a larger ticket for, and that people wanted it because your content and your information was so valuable and so transformational, they're willing to pay for it. Well, that's what we want to do. And that's what we zeroed in on. How do we effectively create that author ecosystem? Now, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. You know, SEO, search engine optimization, developing your social media channels, especially um, uh, YouTube, because with YouTube, you have your own television channel or your own broadcast channel network where you can broadcast yourself and leverage that or bring other people on, just like I'm getting ready to start doing on this show. So by doing that, by increasing the visibility of your book and of yourself as an author, now you're able to create that scale, and things become the momentum begins to grow and flow and get gooder and gooder. Hey, well, guys, every Monday at 7:28, and possibly every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we're working out the details based on the audience that we develop. We want to be able to position you so that you'll come in, get this information, that you'll meet some of these incredible authors, and that you yourself may come on as an aspiring author. We're going to have an aspiring author class where we're going to walk you through, and I'm going to be able to give you some laser coaching on how to get that book done. Because the key basically is once you know what you're going to talk about, know and create an outline, you can write it in a weekend. You can write it overnight. So that's what we're talking about. The altar call is not an altar call. We're not saying come to Jesus, but we're saying we want you to come to your own self and get an understanding of what it's going to take to build out an author ecosystem so that you can change the trajectory of your life. Hey, well, again, this is Dr. John L. Mack, and I'm just so pleased and proud to be able to come before you. Now, you can reach me at Get Published Successfully at gmail.com. You can also reach me direct. My direct number is 469-537-8905. And my website is getpublishedsuccessfully.com. So please check us out. Take a just take a deep dive into what we're doing and see if you too can make this your golden year. Hey, it's 2024. I think it's a 24 karat golden year, and we're going to do everything possible to help you get into that position where your book you can publish, launch, upsell, and scale your book using our PB4X formula. Thank you, and have an awesome day. And remember, everybody has a book in them that somebody wants or needs to read. Anybody can write a book with today's technology, AI, Chat GPT, Bookle, et cetera, et cetera. But remember this, nobody, and I mean nobody, can read a book that's never been written or published. Have an awesome day.